Welcome back to the FPL reaction stream. We'll be looking ahead to Gameweek 19 and talking about all the action in Blank Gameweek 18. We just had the Wolves versus Chelsea game, which finished around half an hour ago. And here we are with this reaction stream. And straight after this is done, there will be a team selection video uploaded. And obviously, that was recorded before the Chelsea game, and now Cole Palmer is suspended. But that will only make the transfer I talk about in that video even more likely to happen. Now, we have a big goal to reach by the end of the day, just in time for Christmas, and that is to get 20 more subscribers and reach 22,000 overall. So if you haven't already, be sure to do so and help us reach that goal, and also get this video to the 200 likes. If that's the case and we reach both of those objectives, there'll be a transcripts video tomorrow on top of this reaction stream right now and the team selection video. So pretty much 3 videos within a day. And of course, we did the best wildcard team video yesterday, and on Boxing Day we will do the deadline stream for Gameweek 19. So let's get straight into your questions and comments. As always, I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Enjoy the time with your family and friends, and let's talk a bit about FPL in the meantime. Royal Killer says, I got 68 points. That is an incredible score, I think, this week. I captain Richarlison and also have Solanke. That's a very good stuff. I mean, captaining Richarlison is something that wouldn't have crossed my mind, to be fair. I still don't fully trust him, but fair play. I do talk about him in the best wildcard team video, and that was actually uploaded just before the Spurs game kicked off, and he's continued his fine form and scored yet again. I'm not so sure about that one, because there are reports that I saw coming out today that Haaland is very unlikely to feature against Everton, and he could possibly be out of the squad, and there's a chance that he's going to be available for Gameweek 20, and that's obviously not set in stone, it's not official, but I'm not so sure about captaining Haaland anyway against Everton when Salah plays Burnley. Cylindra says, hey Dylan, is it worth selling Tsimikas and Gay to Trent and Walker, Konsa, Zinchenko, Bodro, Pinnock for a -4? Yes, it definitely is. I think Trent alone makes it worthwhile. Out of those options you're talking about, Zinchenko and Bodro would be my favourites. I'd probably favour Bodro a little bit more. Now with Zinchenko, he's a good option up until February, but I still think he's the weak link of that Arsenal defence. And once Tomiyasu and Timber return from injury, and Tomiyasu also returns from the Asian Cup in January, then yeah, I think he's probably going to pip Zinchenko, especially in these big games away from home. But I think from those lot, it would be Bodro. He's my favourite. Then it's Zinchenko, and Trent is a no-brainer. Or Tsimikas and Hwang Hee-chan to one of the defenders above, and Bowen or any midfielder. Currently midfield is Richarlison, Saka, Son, Salah. Yeah, I think that's absolutely fine, to be fair. I think Jarrod Bowen is a great acquisition for your team, and he's going to become a very template pick in the weeks to come. I think once Son and Salah go off to their competitions in Gameweek 21, Bowen is one of the best replacements, so I'm on board with that as well. Which one do I prefer? Probably Bowen over Bodro or Zinchenko even, but I think you can't go wrong with either move. Play Gabriel 4 at the back or Garnacho. I think the way it's going, you probably play Gabriel. Bruno says, had to do Hwang to Palmer last night, otherwise would have been priced out of that move. Should work out long term though. Yeah, definitely. I always said this. Because Hwang is also on 4 yellows and Palmer, I talked about keeping Hwang Hee-chan for the time being and then making the switch in Gameweek 19. But now Palmer is suspended for that fixture. But still, long term it should pay off, and Hwang Hee-chan will be off to the Asian Cup in Gameweek 21 anyway. Thoughts on cash to Senesi? Other defenders are Bodro, Trippier, Taylor, Mikalenko, plus Haaland back in for Solanke. Got Watkins, Archer, 2 free transfers. Yeah, I'm in a similar predicament where I might have to sell Solanke, even though I just bought him in this week, and obviously he was a hero for me. But obviously Erling Haaland is a different breed. But the thing is, as I mentioned just a few minutes ago, there is a chance that Haaland isn't available for the Everton game in Gameweek 19. So keep an eye out for that situation. And if he's not back, or if there's still some doubts about it, you can wait a little bit more to Gameweek 20 or beyond to then bring Erling Haaland back in. As for cash for Senesi, I'm not a huge fan. Selling cash, obviously, I'm on board. You know, he's absolutely terrible, as I mentioned a lot of times in my team selection video. But Senesi, I still don't fully trust him. Great assist for Solanke, by the way. A fantastic cross. But in general, I don't trust Bournemouth defensively. We saw that yesterday against 10-man Nottingham Forest. I'd rather go for the likes of Mikalenko, Tarkowski, Branthwaite, Konsa, let alone Zinchenko, Saliba, Pedro Bodro, Trent Alexander-Arnold. I've mentioned a lot of names there, and obviously some of them are from the same team, but I'd rather go in that direction instead. Thank you, Sidindra. Likewise, hope you have a Merry Christmas and enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of your holidays. Palmer replacement. I'd probably keep him, to be honest. I think he's still a really good option in the long term, by far the best Chelsea asset. If you want to sell him, then I think Gordon at home to Nottingham Forest is a great shout. If I had, the luxury of unlimited transfers and I can optimize my team for every single week, I'd buy Gordon for Palmer for sure. But yeah, apart from Gordon, who you might have already, I'd say Richarlison is probably... He has to be on the radar. I talked about him yesterday in the best wildcard team video before the game, and he scored once again against Everton. Yeah, I think Richarlison has to be considered, and is something I wouldn't have said a month ago, that's for sure. Merry Christmas to you as well. That's what she said. Great name. Nkuku scored. I am more than happy. Yeah, obviously, for those of you that went early, that's a nice reward. I still don't fully trust Nkuku or the fact that he's going to get consistent minutes up until he's fully fit and available. Now, with the way Chelsea are and how lackluster the likes of Jackson are, then yeah, you would probably argue that Nkuku will be kind of rushed back in, but that might not be a good thing in terms of his fitness and keeping injury-free. But I have to say, Nkuku, in general, is a player that has impressed me in the years gone by, in the Champions League, whenever I watched RB Leipzig. So yeah, Nkuku could definitely be on the radar, but Palmer is still the best Chelsea asset in my opinion. Then Nkuku's probably second or third best. Sterling was very wasteful today. I think on another day, Palmer could have had a goal and assist. Is Langley going to start now for West Ham? I think you mean for Aston Villa. Not really. He's only starting there. He only started against Sheffield United because Pau Torres was injured. I don't think he will, to be quite honest with you. It was just a one game week thing. And in away games, Aston Villa tend to go for 3 centre-backs, but that will mainly be Diego Carlos, Pau Torres, and Konsa in that sort of situation. But then again, Konsa can also shift to a right-back position when Aston Villa play 4 at the back. Thank you very much to Ahmed. I appreciate the super chat, mate. Crazy first half of FPL with my best position ever in 5 years, reaching top 7k. That's great stuff. I've never been in that position at this stage of the season. It's a very strong position to be in. Feliz Navidad, bud. Thank you very much, and likewise to you. Thanks for the amazing commitment to this FPL space. You're so awesome, my friend. Hope all the best to you and yours. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, and the same goes for you. It's always a pleasure seeing the likes of you and everyone else joining the streams and the videos. I was actually replying to some of the comments earlier, and I'll get back to it after we're done with this stream. And of course, like I said, there will be a team selection video uploaded straight after this video is out. And of course, it's a bit out of date already because of the Cole Palmer suspension, but there you go. I appreciate the kind words. A very generous super chat. It's much appreciated, and I hope you enjoy your holidays for Christmas and the New Year. Lost to my cup opponent by 3 points. I had Watkins captain and he had Salah. Yeah, that pretty much was the difference. But I think apart from those kind of cup competitions or head-to-head leagues, I don't think it's a big deal captaining Watkins over Salah. It's only a 5-point loss. Obviously, it all adds up, but it's not too bad. Do you think Newcastle is a sinking boat? I honestly think it's kind of just a question of home versus away form. I genuinely think that Newcastle... I think they feed off the crowd, and I think it's a bit different. When they're away from home, they're not able maybe to influence things as much, and they don't control games as well. But yeah, I think the injuries also plays a part. There's a few other factors as well. I still think Trippier will come good, but he's such an expensive asset. If you don't have Trent, and you can't go to Trent without selling Trippier, I wouldn't hesitate. I think Trent is a much better option right now. But apart from Trent, I don't think there are many better defenders at this moment in time. And with Trippier, you start him in every home game, and potentially in the away matches, you do bench him, but that is a bit too expensive for a defender to then have that kind of approach to it where you bench him. So it's a tricky one, but I still back him to do well in the long term. So Safra and Nkuku joining a Finnish club. F Sterling for not passing that. Yeah, look, if I was a Chelsea fan, I'd be furious. It was kind of a maybe hilarious from the outside or for rival fans, but that's a disastrous decision by Sterling. It's a game-changing one at that. And of course, he got the assist in the end, but it was far too late. I think Nkuku is definitely one to keep an eye on. I think he's very impressive, as you mentioned there. And as for Cole Palmer, he's been the best Chelsea player by far this season. This match day, I had the same problem as you with Archer and Ariel on the bench, so I'm thinking to start Archer in the next match days. I wouldn't go that far. I think that's his first return away from home. And of course, he was facing his former club, Aston Villa, so there's a bit of something going on there. But in general, Luton Town next at home, there could be a return, but in general, I think Archer's just someone to bench and forget about him. And long term, I think the best setup in the forward line is Erling Haaland, Ollie Watkins, and Dominic Solanke. And as for Areola, that's a bit unfortunate, I guess. I also thought he wouldn't start because he played against Liverpool. They lost 5-1. And then from that point onwards, you kind of get the impression that Areola has become the cup goalkeeper, whilst Fabianski will be the main one in the league. But it didn't turn out that way. Tsimikas to Trent and Saka in for a -4. Bench, Cash and Palmer. Yeah, it depends who you sell Saka, who you sell to get Saka, but Tsimikas to Trent, even for a -4 here, is definitely worth it. Lascelles news, we don't have anything concrete, I believe. I can give you the latest update by Eddie Howe, but I don't think he says anything that gives much away, which is typical Eddie Howe. So his exact words are, I'm not sure. That will need to be assessed in the next few hours. That's literally all he said. He's down to a late fitness test. He's at 75% chance of playing. So honestly, we don't know at this moment in time. We do have almost 100 people watching. Be sure to smash the like button and get this stream to well over 100 likes. And like I said, we are 20 subscribers away from 22,000. So let's be sure to hit that by the Christmas. This would be a great Christmas present, to be honest. But yeah, literally just a few hours there to get to that milestone. The team selection video will be out later today as well. So be sure to support the channel even further. Sahil says, sell Cash or Tsimikas. I won't sell Palmer. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. I'm also not looking to sell Palmer myself. And maybe we can finally get some Archer points when normally he'd be on the bench. But to be honest, at the moment, I'm currently leaning towards selling Tsimikas. The injury could be very severe, and there are reports they will be out until March. But ultimately, they're both a sell. And if it wasn't for this injury, Cash would have been out already in my team. But the Tsimikas situation has complicated things, and add Lascelles on top of it. It's a very tricky one to navigate for defenders this week, and that's why Trent will become very popular. Hello Dylan, says Anthony, do you think it's a good idea Alvarez in for Archer, then Trent in for Tsimikas for a hit -4? Yeah, I'm on board with that. I'm not a huge fan of Alvarez right now, but he did score a brace and he also got an assist in the Club World Cup final. So if he can build upon that form, then he could become a good FPL option once again, as he was in the first 8 game weeks of the season. Let's not forget there was a reason why people sold the likes of Watkins to Alvarez very early on, because Alvarez looked like the best forward in the game behind Erling Haaland, but things changed very quickly. Finally have the chance to sell Diaby, Richarlison in. Still a massive differential while Son is still here. I completely agree. And yeah, if I didn't buy Son this week, I would probably buy Richarlison now. It doesn't make sense to buy Son with 1 or 2 game weeks left until he goes off to the Asian Cup. But with Richarlison, with the form he's in, playing down the middle, I think it's a great acquisition. Hi Dylan, when is the last game week to use a wildcard? Game week 20. So you've got this game week coming up and then one more. And after that, your first wildcard will basically be turned to ash, and then after that, if you do use a wildcard from Game Week 21 onwards, it would be your second wildcard of the season, and you would have no more for the rest of the campaign. Tsimikas, any replacements? Trent Alexander-Arnold is definitely the standout. If you can't go to him, I still like Trippier. Then you've got the likes of Pedro Porro, Saliba, Zinchenko. I think those would be great options to replace him. And to be honest, I still like Everton defenders. I really do. Colwell's not a bad option as a 5th defender, but as you saw today, Chelsea can't be depended on defensively. I'm really liking my no Haaland team. Same here. Makes things more exciting, but I know that when he's back, the points are there to target. Exactly that. And when he goes ballistic, your rank could suffer dramatically. But there are examples of people in a really strong position, in a great rank right now, who haven't had Haaland for most of the season, if not the entire campaign. So it is possible to do well without him, but you have to be very smart in terms of how you redistribute your funds. And I think Trent is a great way of doing that. I have your exact defense. What's the most optimized solution? In my opinion, it's either Tsimikas or Cash to Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, you also have to be wary about buying Haaland back if he is available in Game Week 20, because against Sheffield United, he's by far the best captaincy option on paper, and his effective ownership will be crazy. But looking beyond that, I don't like to think about things in that sort of way. It's just worth mentioning. But I genuinely think if Haaland's available and he starts in that fixture, he's going to score a goal or 2 at the very least. He could easily score a hat-trick, and that's why he's probably worth buying back even for a -4 hit. But in my situation, I might have to sell the likes of Salah in Game Week 20 for a hit to buy Erling Haaland back. So it's not an ideal situation, but yeah, I think Trent Alexander-Arnold is the solution in the back line, but it could make things difficult with Erling Haaland. ZYN, or probably just ZY Nice, says Gusto, Colwell or Konsa in for Cash. It's between Colwell and Konsa for me. I think Aston Villa are slightly better defensively than Chelsea, but Chelsea have the fixture still to get some clean sheets in the next 6 game weeks at least. I'd probably go for Colwill, but there's not much separating them. I'm not a big fan of either, to be quite honest with you. They're really just there as a 5th defender and as an enabler. Adam says, hope all is well, Dylan. 50 points this week and up to 311k. Nice stuff. Happy Christmas to you, and thanks for the great content. Thank you for the kind words, Adam. And I also wish you a happy Christmas and also a Merry New Year, even though I just switched around. Sterling to Saka for a -4. I don't think I'd take a -4 hit this week. I do prefer Saka long term, but he has scored only 1 goal in his last 11 Premier League games, which is simply not good enough. I have been very frustrated with Saka in recent game weeks, especially against Aston Villa and against Liverpool. But yeah, overall, obviously the -4 hit will pay off. But I'm just thinking in terms of the fixture, and you know, you might have some bigger fires to put out elsewhere, especially if you have a similar defence to mine. So I'd be a bit careful about that. Solanke will hit 7 million soon. Yeah, I'm just happy I bought him in already, but unfortunately, to buy Erling Haaland back in Gameweek 20, I might need to sell Solanke and also Salah. So, I don't know, I might have to reconsider and go without Erling Haaland in that fixture, but Solanke for me, maybe not a season keeper. I'm not going to go that far yet, but he's the 3rd best forward in the game, that's for sure. Tsimikas to Gusto, not sure. I mean, if you want to go for a Chelsea defender, I guess Gusto or Colwill is your best bet, but yeah, I'm not so sure, to be honest. I just don't fully trust Chelsea. I think if you don't have Pedro Porro, Zinchenko, Saliba, Trent Alexander-Arnold, I just go in that direction instead. I think they offer far more attacking potential and clean sheets, especially in the case of Trent. So, yeah, I think Trent is the ideal one. Is Leno a troll? Yeah, I think, Fulham are a bit of a weird team. They can smack West Ham 5-0 and then they lose 3-0 at home to Burnley. I mean, what's that about? But yeah, Fulham are an inconsistent team. On their day, they can give the likes of Liverpool and Arsenal problems, but then they can get battered by some of the worst teams in the league. So they are a bit of a weird proposition, but Leno is still one of the best goalkeepers in the game. My bench points nearly beat my entire team. Total disaster. Yeah, it was looking like that for me, sorry, at the beginning of the week, but yeah, thankfully it wasn't too bad in the end. I do feel for you. I've seen some horrendous benches, you know, apart from who I had on my bench, Areola and Archer. I saw people with Taylor and also Gabriel. That's just very unlucky, in my opinion. 46 points all out. Happy with Solanke, but frustrating with Watkins and Chelsea. Still a good score. Green arrow, I'm guessing it is, so it's not too shabby. Yeah, I'm selling Tsimikas for Zinchenko or Konsa. I'll bench cash for Mikalenko. I don't want to take a hit. I'd go to Zinchenko, personally. When is Tomiyasu coming back? The 7th of January, but then he's off to the Asian Cup in Gameweek 21, so he's not going to play a Premier League game until Gameweek 25 or 26. So, yeah, in FPL terms, it will be a long while. Nicholas Jackson is a pain to watch, speaking from a Chelsea fan. Yes, and he's got more yellow cards than goals, which is absolutely ridiculous. Darwin to Nkuku and or Tsimikas to Van Dijk, Trippier to Gusto or Senesi. Oof. I'm not sure if I'd sell Trippier, to be honest. If that's your only way of funding a Van Dijk or Trent, then fair enough. But my recommendation is to get Trent if you don't have him already instead of Van Dijk. I think it's worth the extra millions. Darwin to Nkuku, I think that's a shout in the next couple of weeks, but I wouldn't sell Darwin ahead of Burnley when he has a good chance of starting. That's my opinion. So keep Darwin for 1 more week, then probably sell him afterwards. I'm rolling this week. Lots of injuries and suspensions. Going to play a 3-4-3 and give Archer a start. Yeah, same here. I think now you'll see in my team selection video how my team is set up, but either Lascelles or Archer will come in for Palmer, and I'll probably make a defender transfer. Thoughts on Tsimikas to Trent for Gameweek 19, and then take a hit for Solanke and Trippier to Haaland and Soufal. I'm on board with it. It's not ideal to sell the likes of Solanke and even Trippier for a hit, but it's the sacrifice that you need to do in order to buy Erling Haaland back potentially. But just wait and see for more updates, because there is a chance that Haaland is unavailable for the rest of the year, and that means Gameweeks 19 and 20. What do you think about Saka's recent outcome? I still think he's consistent. Obviously, 3 blanks in a row is disappointing. I think the Villa and Liverpool games, he's been very wasteful. And I just didn't see him take on Joe Gomez or Tsimikas enough yesterday. He really could have caused them damage, but he just kept going in. I think he was a very frustrating player yesterday. Same with Martinelli, who was even worse. But I think still, over the course of the season, he's been one of the most consistent attackers in the league. 5 goals, 8 FPL assists. I mean, look, it's not great. I think he can do more, especially in terms of goals, but it's still a decent return, and I can't think of much more or many more players that are more consistent. Thoughts on buying Nkuku now? Yeah, I think he will start fairly soon, but I'm kind of looking at it, and yeah, maybe Gameweek 19 or 20, I reckon he's going to get a start there. But do I expect him to get a continuous run of games at this moment in time? I'm not so sure. Hasn't Cuckoo arrived on the scene? No, not essential. Come on. I mean, you've literally got Solanke, Watkins, Erling Haaland will be back in the equation soon. He's definitely not essential. Is he going to be a good FPL option? Potentially, and I would back him to do so, but Chelsea are still unreliable, and with Nkuku, he might have good performances, but not get the goals or assists because of how poor Chelsea are. 39 points had Gabriel on the bench. That's a tough one to take. I don't think anyone expected 10 points. Best Sterling replacement? I'd say Richarlison at the moment, which sounds crazy. Wow, it really must be Christmas. Who do I replace Tsimikas for? Can afford Trippier, but not Trent. It's an awkward time to buy Trippier. I think he'll do well this week, but then he's got the likes of Aston Villa, Liverpool, and Man City back-to-back. After that, I think Newcastle will go on a good run, and Trippier will be a good FPL option. But yeah, I think with Trippier, it'll be a tricky one, because he'll do well this week and then struggle in the weeks to come. So yeah, I think I'd maybe look at Van Dijk potentially in your situation. Konate could be another shout, or I'm looking at other defenders. I think I'd stick with the likes of Pedro Porro or Zinchenko Saliba. I think that's where I'd go. A Spurs or Arsenal defender. And of course, if you go for a Spurs one, it has to be the Spaniard. I'm going into Christmas in the top 900k. Is that good for my first season playing? Yes, and look, it's all relative. Everyone has different goals and expectations, but I think for your first time, it definitely is. And I don't think you're that far away from where I am, and I'm not in a particularly great rank, to be honest, but yeah, I think there's still fine margins between the different boundaries, you know, between top 10k and top 100k and vice versa. So it's still possible to push on further. 67 points, and I had Chris Wood on the bench. Yeah, goal and assist for Chris Wood. Thankfully, Solanke did enough to secure the bonus points, but yeah, I mean, with Chris Wood, I don't trust him in the long term. He's not going to be consistent. He might haul in the odd game, but yeah, I don't really blame you for that. I need to decide soon if I replace Watkins or Solanke for Haaland. Yeah, I can see why. I mean, Solanke's in better form than Watkins, but I've always been burned when I sell Watkins. You know, 9 points against Chelsea when I sold him, followed up by 23 against Brighton, then 11 points against Bournemouth. I just can't bring myself to sell him again. That's a good rank this year. Yeah, I agree, Brian. I think it's very difficult to break into the top 10k like it maybe was a few years ago. I was thinking Richarlison, great shout. Yeah, even I'm saying it, and I'm not the biggest fan. I don't fully trust him. I got points from Gabriel at least, had both him and Saliba. There you go. I mean, I think Gabriel had that kind of cashed in. He's got the most goals of any defender in the last couple of seasons, 11 Premier League goals, whilst no other defender has reached double digits. But yeah, this season he hasn't really looked threatening from set pieces, which is very surprising. But that was a bullet header, and it was a great start by Arsenal. As for Saliba, he won the Man of the Match award from Sky, but you could have given it to Gabriel, to be honest. I think both of them were excellent. It's one of the best centre-back partnerships in the league, and that's why I keep advocating for the Arsenal defence or David Ryan goal, even a double-up in the long term. Now that Liverpool's out of the way, there's some good fixtures. I think now is the time to double up on that Arsenal defence. Glad I did Darwin to Solanke this week. Same here, mate, because otherwise it would have been a disaster. 57 points, big green arrow, but 25 points benched. That's a lot of points benched, to be fair. 57 points, big green arrow. That's the positives. Your team is looking good, and that's the main thing. Would you take a -4 to transfer out Romero for Walker? I mean, Man City have good long-term fixtures, but they just, even since last season, and this was during their amazing run where they caught up to Arsenal and won the league, they just concede those goals, you know, late on, and they kind of switch off defensively, no clean sheets, and then if you don't get those clean sheets, it's very rare for the likes of Walker to really haul because he doesn't have much attacking potential, and the only bonus points he gets is when Man City keep a clean sheet in a narrow win or a draw, like a 0-0. So it's a tricky one, I think, with Walker, but I'd rather go elsewhere. Pedro Porro, Zinchenko, Saliba, and I'm also really recommending the Arsenal defensive double-up right now. Got 56 points, really glad with Solanke and Gabriel, but got screwed with Palmer and have to put Trusty in for Gameweek 19. Can't waste my free transfers because of the Haaland, Salah, and Son blanks. Look, I can understand your predicament, but you can also take some hits along the way. For example, this week I took a -4, and it changed my whole game week and complexion, you know. I bought in Son for Gordon and Solanke for Darwin. If I didn't do that, I would have been 18 points down, and I probably wouldn't be doing the stream. So now I think you can take the odd -4 hit to navigate all these issues, and you can still deal with the Son and Salah problems, Erling Haaland returning, so it's not too bad. There's Sales and Tsimikas injured, my defence is in shambles. Yeah, and I've also got Matty Cash, who is absolutely awful anyway, so yeah, a lot of us have a bit of a difficult predicament in the back line. Keep Darwin. I'd keep him for this week, but then I'd sell in the long term. Is Jesus good enough to go without Saka? The thing is, when I'm ranking forwards, and I keep saying this, it sounds boring, but Erling Haaland, Watkins, Solanke, they're the top three, and Solanke's arguably number one right now, which sounds crazy. Then you're looking at Nkuku, I think, if you want a differential. And then after that, maybe Gabriel Jesus enters the equation with those fixtures coming up. But I still think there are better forwards elsewhere. Saka's the best Arsenal attacker and asset. So, yeah, Jesus is all right. He's fine. He's definitely good enough. But I also think he's fairly inconsistent in terms of goal scoring and in terms of FPL points. Tsimikas to Trent, yes, I wouldn't hesitate. And you can still find a way to buy Erling Haaland back in Gameweek 20 if he's available. Tsimikas to Zinchenko or Roll, playing a 3-4-3. Who's your backup option? That'd be my question. If you're not happy with it, I'd go to Zinchenko. Palmer to Odegaard in Gameweek 19. That would mean taking a hit to buy Haaland in Gameweek 20. I personally wouldn't. I think Odegaard could do pretty well. And in recent games, he's getting attacking returns, mainly assists. And you saw what he did last season during winter. They call him Winterguard for a reason. But I wouldn't sell Palmer, to be honest. I think he's an easy bench. Even if it means starting Archer against Luton Town, so be it. I don't think it's the end of the world. Is Trippier a sell? I wouldn't sell him this week against Nottingham Forest. If you were to sell him, I would do it in Gameweek 20. At my highest ever rank with 57k, would love to finish around here, long way to go. Yeah, I think, obviously it's all relative and we all have different opinions, but I think 57k now is more impressive than it was 2 or 3 years ago. And of course, if you go even further back, then it obviously sounds even more true. But yeah, I think that's a great position to be in, and I think you can really push on this season. Is Kabore fit, and is he a good option versus Sheffield? I'll give you the latest update on Kabore, but yeah, I've been asked a few questions actually recently about Luton Town and Sheffield United players, especially the defenders. With Kabore, yes, he's fit, he's available, but he does sometimes get the occasional benching. But I would back him to start there, and a clean sheet is possible. But you also look at Sheffield United, and they can give teams problems. The most they've lost since Chris Wilder's taken over is 2-0, both against Chelsea and Liverpool. So yeah, we have almost 150 people watching. Let's be sure to rack up the likes. Let's get this stream to over 100. And also to get to 22,000 subscribers by the end of the day. There's going to be a double upload shortly after the stream is done. There's going to be a team selection video where I discuss what I'm going to do. And of course, the Cole Palmer suspension did happen after the recording. But I'm going to probably bring in Archer anyway for Cole Palmer and not take a hit this week. That'll probably be saved for Gameweek 20 or 21. Did everyone miss out on Ariel at 8 points? I don't think everyone did, but I think a fair few. Some people sold him, including for hits, and to be honest, I did advocate for it. So that's why sometimes with goalkeepers, sometimes just leave it as it is. And, I generally don't recommend hits, but I thought he wouldn't play, and I was wrong. Are you benching Palmer? Yes, I'm not going to sell him. I don't think it's worth selling him. If I had, 2 free transfers and I could navigate it in such a way, I'd buy Gordon back against Nottingham Forest and then keep Gordon, and I can buy Palmer for Son or Salah in Gameweek 20 or 21, but it is what it is. The best captaincy for next match? I mean, Salah seems a bit too obvious, and every single week when there's like Ollie Watkins against Sheffield United, there's Haaland at home against I don't know who, there's always this kind of standout captaincy option. Everyone's putting the armband on him, and they fail to deliver. So I think it's worth opening our minds to other options. Solanke at home to Fulham, Trent away to Burnley, Son away to Brighton. Those would be my top options, but Salah is probably still number one. Is it worth taking a punt on Brighton assets with good fixtures coming up? I mean, it could be. The problem with Brighton, though, is rotation, also inconsistency. The goals are shared. I don't think they have a particular standout, someone who hogs most of the goals or chances. So I think if I were to take a punt on someone, it would be Joao Pedro. Arba, free taxes, sell 1. Alvarez, Watkins, Solanke. Probably Alvarez still, despite the fixtures being good. I just think when Haaland and De Bruyne are back, Alvarez could be benched very often. Apart from Haaland, I think not a single City player is nailed on to keep until the end of the season. I completely agree. De Bruyne would be an explosive option in certain game weeks and a great captaincy choice. If, for example, Man City will get a double game week, it's just a question of when. And if De Bruyne is fit by that time, then he could be an amazing option to captain over Erling Haaland. So I agree with you. I genuinely don't really look at City and want to double or triple up on them. Would you do share to Trent for free? I would, but as I mentioned with Trippier before, it's an awkward time to sell a Newcastle defender when they've got Nottingham Forest at home. I would back them for the clean sheet there. If it was an away game, I'd do it right now with no hesitation, but I'd maybe rather sell another defender. If you've got Tsimikas or Cash, you definitely sell them instead. Bench 2, Bedro Bodro, Walker, Gabriel, Trippier, Konsa. I'd bench Konsa. I still think Man United will score. That's 4 games, by the way, in all competitions that Man United haven't scored in. Bayern Munich, Liverpool, Bournemouth, and West Ham. But I think they'll score against Aston Villa. So as a result, I'd bench Konsa. You definitely start Trippier, by the way. There's no doubt about it. I think the other defender I'd bench is probably Gabriel. I think I'd bench Gabriel. Is Isak to Nkunku a no-brainer? I prefer other forwards over Nkunku, but I think that's an upgrade. And I do rate Nkunku as a player, at least from what I've seen in the Champions League and at RB Leipzig. So, yeah, I think that's a good shout. I do prefer Solanke, Watkins, and Haaland, but Nkunku could be the next best option in the forward line. Lascelles to Gabriel or play Baldock versus Luton. I'd probably just play Baldock versus Luton and then buy Gabriel very soon. Now, I'll be honest with you, with Lascelles, I think he's going to lose his spot, and it's going to be a Fabian Schär, Dan Burn, Botman, and Trippier back 4. So, yeah, I think with Lascelles, his time is probably up anyway. Even Sheffield and Burnley, not an easy fixture now. It's a good question. I think they still are there to be targeted. They'll still lose most Premier League games, but I still think in the odd match they can be competitive, like Sheffield United were against Liverpool, against Chelsea, and also against Brentford, getting the victory there. Also getting the draw against Aston Villa. No one expected that. It was a great time there for the Villains to get top of the league for Christmas. And as for Burnley, I mean, I don't think anyone expected them to win 3-0 at Craven Cottage, but that's the Premier League for you. It's full of surprises. Yeah, I think they're still easy fixtures, but not as easy as they were earlier in the season, especially in the case of Sheffield United. 5 weeks ago, I was 360k. 2 bad weeks later, I'm at 1.2 million. 750k now. This season is a massive grind. I completely agree, Brian, but don't be too downtrodden about it. You know, it happens. I've had a few red arrows, even since the Game Week 8 wildcard, but in the last 2 weeks, I've kind of recovered that. And I think since, in that period between Game Week 3 and 8, I just kept on getting red arrow after red arrow, but it's just important to keep a cool head. And sometimes things start to click for you later in the season. That's what generally happens with me. I start a bit slow, then I start to get a good feel and understanding of the best assets and teams. And after that, you start to build from it. So don't be too, influenced or, I don't know, too concerned with where you are right now. It is what it is. The ranks are volatile and the points are going to be just very, very tricky from time to time. Is it more worth it to bring in Trent or Solanke this week? This week, I'd rather bring in Trent, I think. But Solanke is still a great option against Fulham, especially if they defend the way they did against Burnley. Palmer, 1-match ban in Game Week 19. Darwin starts. Yeah, I hate to break it to you, but Darwin's not getting 15 points. I mean, if this gets clipped, fair enough. I mean, it'll be the first clip, I think. But yeah, no, I think Darwin could score maybe 1 or 2 goals, but I don't think 15 points is going to happen. Yeah, let's wait and see. I think he'll do well against Burnley, and that's why I'm encouraging people to keep him for 1 more game week. I have Edouard, Palmer, Lascelles, and Tsimikas, but 1 free transfer, says Ashton. Yeah, I mean, with Palmer, you keep him anyway. Tsimikas could be out until March. He is the sell. And Edouard is just a poor FPL option, in my opinion. I'd also sell him. Lascelles, you could just bench, but I think he will have lost his spot very soon, even when he returns from injury. No, JP, I completely disagree. I mean, I keep seeing people say this, and I was anticipating it, even in yesterday's video, because, a blank against Liverpool, not too surprising. That's 3 in a row now, but why would you sell Saka when you've got other files to put out potentially, and Son and Salah will be off to their respective cup competitions in January, and I think Saka's a prime candidate to replace them, so I think it's just the wrong time. Who's the best, easiest fixture now then? Easiest fixture right now, I think it changes week on week, to be quite honest with you. The likes of Man United and Chelsea are quite easy in the grand scheme of things, but it's still quite rare for them to be absolutely battered by more than 3 goals. I think Chelsea's biggest loss this season is by 2. Man United obviously lost 3-0 to Bournemouth, but yeah, they would be up there. I think other teams that are still quite there for the taking, I still think Burnley. I think Burnley is the one, and I think Liverpool will put them to the sword. So that's my answer. Hi, mate, who would you see out of Lascelles, Tsimikas first? I'd rather sell Tsimikas first because 1, he's more expensive. 2, his injury is more long-term. And 3, Lascelles could still start the odd game even when he comes back from injury. And if he's fit and available to play in Game Week 19, it wouldn't surprise me to see him start. But yeah, Tsimikas has to be sold for me. Who do you sell him to? I think Trent is the easy one. Thoughts on Maddison after Son went off to the Asian Cup? I mean, yeah, we're all talking about Richarlison as a prime candidate to replace Son. I think Maddison could be the one, but as always with Maddison, injury-prone player, you're kind of always waiting to when he's going to get injured, unfortunately, and he's definitely going to enter our thinking once again. I think double up in the Spurs attack is going to become very viable in a very short while. If you haven't done it already with Richarlison and Son, you will do with Richarlison and Maddison. The only way I'm this high is literally differential picks and jumping on bandwagons before they become bandwagons. Yeah, of course, sometimes you need a bit of luck, and also you need to make some good decisions, and that's what you've done, so you got to take it. 22k subs is brilliant, man. Well done. Have we actually reached already? I'm not so sure, but I appreciate that, Brian. We will hit it eventually. But yeah, for today, we are 17 away. We are 17 away still, so we've got a little more pushing to do. But yeah, I think after the video's uploaded, just in time for Christmas, it is possible to get to that milestone. And if not, we've got a week left for the new year to reach that goal. Thank you very much, mate. Is it worth bringing in Trent from Tsimikas or Solanke for Mubama to replace Palmer on the bench this week, says Julian? I'd rather buy Trent for Tsimikas because it looks very likely that Tsimikas will be out for months. Is it worth to bring in Mudryk? No. If you want to buy a Chelsea player, it's Palmer when he returns from suspension or in Nkunku. No, I would not buy Mudryk. Definitely not. Tsimikas injured, Sterling, Palmer, Cash suspended, bench Sterling and Taylor, what to do? Yeah, look, for me, Sterling anyway is a sell. I know he got an assist today, but he's just so frustrating. I think it all depends on the context of your team, but I think once Palmer comes back from suspension, I would do that switch. I think it's worth it. Anthony Gordon is really good this week as a one-week punt, and then long-term he'll do well. You can bench him against the likes of Liverpool and Aston Villa. Ironically, I wouldn't bench him against Man City because it's a home game and Gordon hasn't blanked at St James's Park this season. I'm hoping he does next week, though. And then, yeah, I think apart from Gordon, you're probably looking at Richarlison. I'm recommending him a lot recently. He's probably one of my top picks. Jarrod Bowen, though, if you don't have him, definitely go for him, even though he's facing Arsenal this week. Bowen has hurt me the most this season. He seems to get those lucky bounces as well. Yeah, look, Bowen has been very consistent. He doesn't get bonus points, but he returns more often than not, and I'm quite happy with him. Son at home versus a Brian who loved to concede. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, Son is away. Doesn't really matter, though. Home or away, he's probably going to do damage to Brighton. He's my vice-captain at the moment, but I did recommend him a lot in the video that's coming up, the team selection. And, you know, because I did make this point about the best captaincy options on paper, like Salah this week, it's not a guarantee that they're going to deliver. And sometimes, like in your case, it's worth going against them to really gain those ranks. And yeah, I think Solanke or Son could be great alternatives. Trent as well in that same fixture against Burnley compared to Salah. So yeah, I think it could be worth going against Salah, but I'm probably going to be a bit boring and go for him yet again. I did Watkins to Solanke for a hit because I was broke. I thought of long term, is it a good move? Solanke does have some tough games coming up on paper, like Tottenham, West Ham, but yeah, I think Solanke is still fine. I wouldn't have sold Watkins, to be quite honest with you, and it wouldn't surprise me if he hauled against Man United. Yeah, Pascal Gross, he's very consistent, very underrated player and FPL asset. He gets bonus points whenever he gets an assist or attack in return, so yeah, I do like him. Highest scoring Brian player last season, highest scoring player currently, started 9 of the last 10 league matches, 6 returns in his last 6 matches. I rate Pascal Gross, and also against Arsenal, where Brighton didn't do much in that game. The only chance they did get fell to Pascal Gross. I really like him as a player, and actually he's one of the first assets that I bought in any fantasy game back when he joined the Premier League in 2017-18. Are you confident starting 2 Arsenal defenders? I'm quite happy with it long term. Against West Ham, I think 1's enough. I wouldn't go for the double up. So if you've got a Pedro Porro on your bench, I'd start him over maybe a Gabriel. But yeah, I think it's still fine. Yeah, Brian, I think that's fine. I completely agree there. Are you getting Trent yourself? Find out in the team selection video. I talk about it there. Top 3 long-term holds. Saka, Bowen, and Ollie Watkins would be 3 of them. Malo Gusto is a good asset for Gameweek 19. I guess I think he's fairly decent, same with Colwill, but I'm just not a big fan of Chelsea. I think against Palace, who have been decent recently, they gave Liverpool trouble. They obviously got a big result against Man City. Yeah, I think I'll be honest. I think Palace will score, but on paper, I can see why people are going for these Chelsea assets. They will be one of the bookies' favourites to keep a clean sheet in Game Week 19. 24 points on the bench with Gabriel, Ariel, and Archer. Palmer out means either starting Archer or Borro. I'd go for Borro, and that's in reference to what Brian says there as well. I agree with him. Who's your replacement for Tsimikas? I don't want to, play mysterious, but it's literally going to be in the team selection video uploaded straight after this video. I think you can kind of tell, though, by who I've recommended throughout most of this stream, who it's going to be. But yeah, Trent, for me, as Abhishek says in the next comment, is almost a must-have. He will become more involved in the attack once Salah leaves for AFCON. I do think, though, Salah does boost the assist potential, as you saw yesterday. A great goal, fantastic pass by Trent, and Salah was clinical. But yeah, I can see what you mean. I'm on board with that. Solanke's essential. I wouldn't say he's essential. He's one of the best forwards in the game, no doubt about it, but not essential. In this week against Fulham, he's a great captaincy option, in my opinion, but I wouldn't be taking -8s or stuff like that to bring him in. I don't think he's that level of essential, but he's a good choice, and I think he's worth considering for the captaincy. Best Man City players to triple up for Game Week 20. Haaland, Alvarez, and Walker, I guess. Once De Bruyne returns, he would definitely be in the equation, but that's probably the best three, and I'm not a big fan of Alvarez or Walker right now. Differential replacement for Tsimikas. Trent is not a differential, but he's a low-owned player who will do well for you. Same with Zinchenko. When I say low-owned in the grand scheme of things, less than 20% ownership. So I think one of those two would be fine. I still like Tarkovsky, Mikalenko. I still think they're good choices. Yeah, I think differential, Konsa long-term, good fixtures is another shout. But yeah, I'd say Trent or Zinchenko. Any returns they get will result in massive green arrows for you. Kind of hope Haaland is out for Game Week 20, so I can't buy him in Game Week 21 at the same time as selling Salah and Son. I completely agree. Obviously, you wish for the best for players in terms of injuries, but in terms of FPL, it'd be great if Haaland missed out in Game Week 19 and 20. Captain Solanke next week, it's a shout. He's currently not my captain or vice-captain, but he's in my top 3 options for the week for sure. It's between Salah, Son, and Solanke. Thank you, Mr. V. Likewise to you. Enjoy your Christmas holidays. Thank you, Brian, as well. It's only a matter of time. Let's see if we can do it today. With Palmer suspended, bench him and sell Andreas to Brennan Johnson. I would rather go for Richarlison, but Brennan Johnson, obviously a few assists yesterday. A good performance, so no, not a bad shout. What do you think? Sell Tsimikas or Lascelles? Tsimikas, I mentioned this earlier. Tsimikas could be out for months. Lascelles might have lost a spot anyway, but I'd rather sell Tsimikas. Yeah, your defense is fine this week, but I'll be honest. Yeah, I think Diego Carlos, he's probably someone you want to bench against Man United, in my opinion. So I'd buy Trent Alexander-Arnold if you can for Tsimikas. Arsenal will be one of the teams least affected by AFCON and the Asian Cup. Yeah, that's true. Rhythm and continuity in attack will be an issue for other teams. That and the fixtures make Saka an easy hold. I think that's a great analysis, to be honest. I couldn't have put it better myself. The thing is, though, there are some key players from Arsenal, like Tomiyasu, who will be off to the Asian Cup. But he's been injured for so long anyway that the difference won't be that felt, because Arsenal have been enduring these games without the likes of Tomiyasu and Timber and playing Zinchenko every single game there. So I agree with that. Liverpool will have a lot of players out, I believe. Endo, Mohamed Salah. I think there's a few more in there that I probably forgot off the top of my head, but that's a lot of key players. Even Tottenham with the likes of Bissouma, Pape Sarr, Heung-min Son. And then you look at Man City, they're another one actually that won't be affected really. So Arsenal and Man City will be the least affected, and I still think they're the best teams in the league and they will compete for the title. Liverpool also are in the title race, but I think they are probably a little bit below the other two. If Haaland is not fit for Sheffield, who can we get from Man City? I mean Alvarez, but that'd be a very short-term punt, and it all depends on when De Bruyne is back. What will you do on Christmas? Just enjoy the time with the family. Yesterday I was out with friends after the game. That's why there was no reaction stream. I also, was very engaged emotionally in that game. It was a fascinating watch. I think a draw was the fair result. But yeah, I think for Christmas, just chilling with family, watching some shows, Sons of Anarchy, maybe a film too. Best Man City defenders, probably Kyle Walker. He's the captain. He starts every single game. I think he's one of the few Premier League players to have started every single minute, along with Saliba and a few other. It's an exclusive list, basically, and a lot of them are defenders, but it's very rare to get a Man City player who plays every single minute available, of course, with Man City blanking in Game Week 18. Salah, best right winger in the league this season. Oh yeah, there's not for debate. I like Saka a lot, but Salah's definitely the best right winger in the league right now, and also he has been for the last couple of years. I think Saka's the closest, but Salah's definitely there. Team of the season obviously is premature, but it has been, well, we are on the halfway mark pretty much, or we almost are. So yeah, I think Liverpool, Salah's definitely one of the most nailed on players in that list. Bournemouth fixtures turn soon. That's true, but even against West Ham, Spurs, and Liverpool, I think it is, Solanke can do well against them. But you're right. That's why I'm not thinking or, kind of proclaiming that Solanke is a must-have and essential right now. I'm back to number 1 in the Dylan RCM Mini League, 1 point ahead of number 2. Really good stuff, Mr. V. Actually, you know what? Thank you for reminding me. I'm going to have a quick look now. We'll go through the league together. So yeah, thank you very much. It's been a while since we went through the league, so apologies for that. Yeah. Okay. Let's see if I can... You know what? I'm just going to do it from here. I'm not going to overcomplicate it. So, let's go to the leagues. Cartel. No, that's the wrong one. Dylan RCM. There we go. So, big shout out to Mr. V. I can see that. BV. 1,162 points. Do you mind sharing some of them with me? It's Christmas, but really good stuff, mate. 1 point ahead of second place. That is a fantastic rank to be in as well. I wish you all the best of luck. The same goes for everyone else in the top 10. Also, just everyone else in the league, really. So be sure to join if you haven't already. There's a link in the description below. You click it and you automatically join the league. There's also the league code, which you can copy and paste in the search bar. And you've also got it on the left-hand side with the graphics throughout the entire stream. So be sure to join the FPL League for Dylan RCM. But yeah, I'll keep this on screen for a little while longer. And by the way, I just saw a super chat there, so let's go through that. Apologies for some of the some of the enunciation today. I'm going to blame last night for that. Brian Morrissey says, my defense is Trent, Trippier, Zinchenko, Bodro, for Zinchenko soon. That's a great defense, and as much as I like Zinchenko as an FPL option, I'm not sure if I'd sell Bodro. If anything, I mean, it seems a bit excessive to have all of them at the same time, but I'd rather add Zinchenko to your defensive line. But I see what you're doing there. Arsenal will keep more clean sheets than Spurs, especially, I think, over the next couple of weeks. But yeah, I think it's all a matter of timing. If you can get that right, Bodro to Zinchenko could work out, and the rest is absolutely sorted and stacked. So that looks really good. Oh yeah, so you're going to get Bodro for Zinchenko soon. Yeah, I think the time to do that would be February, because that's when Tomiyasu should be available, returning from the Asian Cup and injury, and Timber should also be back, and I would expect Zinchenko to be benched more often. Thank you to Steparky. Merry Christmas. Glad took Tsimikas out after the last deadline. Yeah, I benched him this week, and now he's going to be a sell, but it also means Cash somehow lives to fight another day in my FPL team. I honestly can't believe it. Should I get an Aston Villa or a Newcastle defender as Tsimikas replacement? I still think Newcastle have the better defence long term, so Dan Burn would be my pick. Trippier is always a good option, and I think he will bounce back. From Aston Villa, it's Konsa. I think the way I'd rank it right now would be Burn first, Trippier second, and Konsa third, and that's also with an eye to get Trent at the back and also have the funds to buy Haaland up front. Chelsea player has been letting us down. I'm thinking to transfer Foden in or roll the transfer. Yeah, but if you have Cole Palmer, keep him. He's still a great option, very consistent. He can do it from open play and also from penalties. So, yeah, unless it's Sterling, Jackson, or someone else like that, Colwill. Yeah, I think Palmer is still a great option in the long term. Any Lascelles replacement recommendations? For a similar price, it will be difficult, but I think Dan Burn from Newcastle is a good like-for-like. Same with Konsa, as I just mentioned. So those would be two of them, Mikalenko and Tarkovsky. Branthwaite. I think any of those, depending on which team you want to target defensively, would be my recommendation. My favourites from the ones I mentioned, I narrow down to two, and that'll be Burn and Mikalenko. Martin needs to be benched for some games. That's actually a good point you raised there, because last season Martinelli had a poor run. He got benched against Aston Villa, came off the bench, scored that last-minute goal to make it 4-2 when he had his arms are out. He had an open goal. It was kind of funny. After that, he went on a great run. Even when Arsenal were faltering and losing grip of the title, Martinelli kept on producing week after week. And yeah, I think it'll be a great thing for him. He'll respond very well. His mentality is very good. And he's been poor recently, it has to be said. And Trossard probably should get a run of starts now. You could also argue that Saka, hasn't been great, and if he was benched, obviously, look, I don't think Saka will ever be benched in this context, but yeah, I think Martinelli should be benched. I think that's a good shout. If you start the wild card and a fairly template team, what game week would you use it? That's a great question. Yeah, so if I start the first wild card, I'd probably use it now because I've got Palmer suspended. If we actually go back to my team now, I've got Palmer suspended, I've got Cash suspended, Lascelles is injured, and he'll probably lost a spot soon. Tsimikas is injured for months, it looks like. So yeah, I'd probably use it now in my team situation, but it might be different for you if you don't have that many issues. Sons of Anarchy is an amazing show. We'll also recommend Mayans after finishing it. Yeah, obviously it's a prequel show, isn't it? If not, it's still related, obviously, with the Mexican gang there. So yeah, I'll definitely have a look. There's also Gen V that I need to watch, which is related to The Boys, which is another show I really like. I need to watch Loki, the latest season, which is apparently very good. What else is there? I mean, there's some old shows that I like. I'm a bit old school, to be honest, in terms of my taste of music, with shows and films. I think Deadwood is the one with Ian McShane. I need to watch that. But yeah, I've watched a lot of good shows already, so I'm quite happy with the list, and long may it continue. So yeah, thank you for that. We do have over 100 people watching. Like I said, let's be sure to rack up the likes. And obviously, I have to say, a huge shout out goes to those that send in super chats, because very generous donations there. I really appreciate that. And same with all the channel members and patrons. If you do sign up, you can have an exclusive badge next to your name, and it will progress in terms of color to silver. Obviously gold after a certain amount of time. You've also got bronze. I think there's red to start off with. You've got black and blue. Like Johnny Walker, blue label. It's amazing, isn't it? I've only just joined the league. Let's see how well I can catch up. Good stuff, Goldhead. I think he'd be in a very high position. Hope you're aware that Palmer's suspended. I am. I've been talking about it all stream, mate. I'm definitely aware of it. I know he's not flagged right now. Maybe if we refresh, he'll be red flagged. There we go. All right, there you go. Palmer is suspended, for those of you that aren't aware. He picked up his 5th yellow card today. No Sinchenko to Bodro. Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. I read it right in the first time, and no, actually, no. I read it right at the end, so I did misunderstand you at the beginning. My apologies. But yeah, I think February is the best time to do that, potentially, because after the next couple, Spurs have a bit of a difficult fixture run. And also Sinchenko, I think, will do fairly well over the next month. No return for Palmer this week as punishment. Going to bench him for 1 week. Yeah, and after his big haul against Sheffield United, people were asking me, should I captain him against Wolves? And I said no. I was wrong about it against Sheffield United because he was a great captaincy option. But then again, against Wolves, it's not that simple. Declan Rodri, you still have to give it to Rodri for what he's achieved, and he's done it for many years now. I think Rice has been very consistent at West Ham. I think this season he's been the best defensive midfielder in the world, in my opinion. Maybe people will call me biased, that's fair enough, but I genuinely think he's been that good. And I'd actually argue he's been player of the season. Obviously, it's only 18 games. There's a long way to go. I'm not saying he will win it in the end. But the impact he's made, I genuinely think without him, Arsenal would be 4th or 5th. I really think that. Especially with all the injuries and stuff, Thomas Partey constantly being unavailable. Imagine Arsenal going into Anfield with no Partey, no Jorginho, no El Neni, and also, obviously, Rice not being signed. I mean, it would have been a disaster. Mr. V says, thanks, mate, I appreciate it. My advice, try to get high team value in the first half of the season, obviously, and go with your gut feeling and don't copy others. Yeah, I think the last one's a very good advice, so I think that's a great shout. But yeah, I think that's a really good way of summing it up. I have pretty decent team value right now. It's not the best, but it's good enough, I think, to build a solid squad for the second half of the campaign. And I think that also explains why I typically start off poorly and then grow into the season. Any good defenders under 4.5 million? Branthwaite, Diego Carlos still, who was surprisingly benched against Sheffield United, but yeah, I'd say Branthwaite's my favourite. Gomez, really good appearance, you know. I forgot he played at Everton. Obviously, he got that big injury against Tottenham a few years ago, and that was a great goal he scored. Played very well on top of that goal. I also think Nelson should get some chances. Great shout, Smokey. I completely agree. Yesterday, when Martinelli and Saka was thinking it up, I really wanted Nelson and Trossard to both come on. My current team value is 106.5 million. Man, that's incredible. It's not even too bad. Palmer suspended? Yeah, unfortunately he is. Who's better at the moment, Odegaard or Saka? Oh, in recent games, it's definitely Odegaard. There's no doubt about it. I think he played well yesterday, despite that one stupid slip that led to the 5v1 or 5v2 situation we saw when Trent hit the crossbar. But yeah, the pitch was very slippery. I think that was done on purpose. And of course, look, people have done that throughout history. It's not really anything groundbreaking. I'm not going to cry about it. But Yeah, I think Odegaard in recent weeks is the one. Keep or sell Wilson? I'd keep Wilson for Nottingham Forest, then I'd look to sell potentially. Thank you to here. Hi Dylan, thanks for the wonderful live streams. Thank you, mate. Wishing you happy holidays and best of luck for 2024. I can only echo what you said, and I wish you all the best in FPL, and more importantly, beyond that as well. Bringing Haaland back in, not this week. There are reports that he's going to miss the Everton game. He won't be in the squad. Let's wait and see, of course. Don't jump to conclusions just yet. But my plan is to bring him back for Game Week 20, as I'll discuss in the team selection video. If he's not available for that game, I'll be very happy, and I can keep Salah for another week. Gomez a short-term option, yeah, or Konate. I think they're absolutely fine. I think I'd rank it Trent first, Van Dijk second, probably Konate third, and Joe Gomez fourth. Gen V / the boys as quality. I heard that Gen V isn't that great, but people who love the boys love Gen V. So, you know, if that's the case, I'm going to like it. The boys is one of my favorite shows of all time. But yeah, there's a lot of shows that I like, and I've banged on about it for many a year. I've started Fargo recently, pretty good. I actually watched that this year. I think it was a couple of months ago. I didn't watch the last season, I think. I did watch the first three, and I enjoyed all of them. But I have to say, season 1 was my favourite. Sell Kudus for Odegaard? That's not a bad shout. I wouldn't sell Kudus now. I think if you have Kudus, you definitely hold on to him with the form he's in. But for those that don't have Kudus, don't buy him. He's off to AFCON in Game Week 21, and Jarrod Bowen is a better long-term purchase at this moment in time. Mine is actually set after Sons, so fits nicely. Good stuff. I'll have a look. Lots of references to Sons. Really good stuff then. I appreciate that. I'll be having a look very soon, I think. I've kept Neto for his injury. Is he a good enough differential to keep? Yes. I think once Son and Salah go off to the cup competitions, apart from Richarlison, I'm really looking at Pedro Neto. That's a good shout. The sells to Trent good move? Yes, 100%. But if you have Simicast or Cash, I'd rather sell them instead. Christmas membership giveaway? I did receive an email about being able to give memberships for free, sorry. If that's the case, I will be doing that very soon, and I'll try to announce it. I'm not sure if I can do it right now, and to be honest, I'm a bit slow sometimes when it comes to this. Let's see. Okay, no, actually, I think I can do one right now. Let me bring up another browser, and let's see if we can gift some memberships now on the stream. We do have, I think, over 50 members and also a lot of patrons as well. And I think in the next stream, I will be shouting all of you out in the deadline stream when even more of you will be here. You definitely deserve that. And yeah, let's actually go to this live stream and be able to gift some memberships. If I can do it, it will be done basically now. Thank you, Mr. V, for becoming a differential. That's massively appreciated, mate. And I will be gifting some memberships now, like I said. Thank you very much for becoming a differential. You will now have access to all of my videos early on. And actually, right now, Mr. V, you can watch my team selection video. It's already out for channel members and patrons. So thank you, mate. Let me now try to gift this. I'm sorry for being slow, but that sums me up sometimes. There we go. Gift 5 now. I'm just wondering. Yeah, well, 5 memberships have been gifted. And there you go. It was randomly selected, by the way. I had no influence in terms of who won it. But Jay, Matt, Line, Stephen, and Elder have all become channel members now as well. So there you go. I wouldn't mind gifting a few more in the future as well. Obviously, I also want to reward those that have signed up manually. But yeah, I think definitely because it's Christmas, why not? There could also be a few more gifted memberships very soon. I'd probably make it another set of 5 before the end of the stream if I'm able to. So there you go. And then, yeah, I think I keep on saying this, I'm sorry, but we are now 14 subscribers away from 22,000. So if you haven't already, you know what to do. It'd really help us out, and it'd be a great Christmas present, probably the best I could ask for this year, apart from maybe a certain team winning the league. But yeah, let's not talk about that. Let me just go through the questions I haven't gone through so far. Will Sarabia get bonus points? He got an assist and a clean sheet. I think he does. We'll go for it now. We might as well. I'm not going to just make it up as we go along. So if we check here, the Wolves and Chelsea bonus points. Yeah, Lamina got 3, 8 Nuri, Dawson, Sarabia, Doherty. As you see, look how many players got bonus points. And Kuku got 2. The Sassy, how the hell did he get a bonus point? But yeah, the answer is Sarabia got 1 bonus point. If you have him, fair play. I remember his goal against Tottenham. That was incredible. I kind of celebrate, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, that was really good shout if you have him. Is Simicast to Porter a good move? Definitely, mate. 100% it's a good move. And by the way, also shout out to Weiseng for reminding me of the gifted memberships. I think when you first talked about it, I wasn't able to gift them for free, but now I am, so why not gift them? Twisted Parky says, team for Gameweek 19, Leno, Trent, Gabriel, Trippier, Walker, Salah, Captain, Saka, Son, Richarlison, Alvarez, Watkins, bench, Areola, Archer, Lascelles, Palmer. 0 transfers, probably won't make one. Yeah, I think that's absolutely fine. Even though it's not ideal, I'd probably just start Archer there. Just trying to think who you'd start him over. I don't think you need to start Archer. I think I'd go for what you have in your starting 11. Even though Man City and Arsenal, you know, I'm not so sure about clean sheets there, but you still probably just kind of play them and hope for the best there. If you were to play Archer, it's probably for either Gabriel or Walker. But yeah, your team's absolutely fine. Thank you, Charlie. I know Declan very well since 2018. Very jealous he's joining Arsenal at the end. I'm not going to lie. Back in 2020, 2019, I thought he was overrated. You know, typical English player, overhyped, but ever since 2021, I started to rate him a little bit more. But now, you know, when he's at your club, you kind of appreciate him even more. Bit of bias obviously creeping in, but really you watch everything they do week in, week out, and honestly, Rice has been a revelation. I thought 100 million would still be a bit too much for him, but he would be a good signing. But honestly, he could be worth more than that, which sounds crazy to say. My team value is 103.2 million with 2 million in the bank. That's pretty decent, to be honest. I mean, it's not far off what one of the other viewers said earlier. I think it was Mr. V. What's your team value? Trying to understand what is good at this point. Yeah, I think mine's okay. I'll have a look right now, actually. I'm going to have a look at the app and see what my team value is. I don't really pay attention to it too much. Let's see if I can get it up. If not, yeah, I'll just have to go on the website here. Oh, good. Yeah, no, we're going to do this here. So my team value is, if I check it here, 104.6 million. So it's actually lower than what people have been saying in the live chat. So it's not great, but it's also not too shabby. Yeah, I've got 99.1 million in squad value, and I've got 5.5 million in the bank. So yeah, 104.6 million. Not too shabby, but also not great. We'll definitely see better in the live chat, that's for sure. All right, let's go back to your questions again. Simicast and Saka for Trent and Sarabia. Yeah, look, I'm not suddenly a huge fan of Sarabia. I think with Hwang Hee-chan off to the Asian Cup, he could be a nice alternative. But once Pedro Neto is available, he's the best Wolves asset, in my opinion. Would you recommend moving away from Salah and Son? Yes, of course, but not now. Don't sell Salah away to Burnley. Don't do that. And don't sell Son against either Brighton or Bournemouth. So I think if you were to sell one before Gameweek 21, it's probably Salah in Gameweek 20, but that is a home game against Newcastle. But honestly, if you can do it, I would recommend selling both of them from Gameweek 21 onwards and not before, because they are great FPL options in any given game week. Yeah, De Bruyne is back training with others, but that doesn't mean he's fully fit to start games, and that's what we're really looking for. Favorite Christmas movie? I mean, I watched Home Alone again last year. I do like those films, a bit of fun, but I think my favourite is probably Elf. I watched it as a kid. I went with my primary school to the cinema, and I just laughed my ass off, to be honest. It's maybe a bit of a childish film, but I don't know. I guess Elf would be up there. Maybe I'm forgetting something, but it's definitely one of the best Christmas movies, in my opinion. When's Robertson back? Well, Klopp actually spoke about this recently, and he said he hopes Robertson's back very soon, and it should be around January, if not February. But I think January is possible, especially now with Simicast out. I think Robertson could be rushed back a little bit quicker than expected. Yep, bonus points are in. Unfortunately, means nothing for me because Palmer got 1 point, so I'm not going to refresh my page, but thank you for that, Pranav. Disaster Game Week, 29 points, and Red Arrow from 80k to 190k. Still a very good rank, though. And just put into context, you got 29 points, which is very low, but your rank drop wasn't too shabby considering the overall points this week, so not too bad. I'm watching Only Murders in the Building. Great show. I try to make a note of this because, you know, I always, you know, there's so many recommendations from people and then I kind of just get them all jumbled up. So I might have to make a note of it now so I don't forget. So I've actually got a note with a list of movies and shows to watch. Where is it? Okay, yeah, I've got it here. Films to watch. Let's add TV shows as well. All right, I'm going to just type it quickly, so if you hear some typing, apologies. Only Murders in the Building. All right. I think someone's recommended it to me before. It's actually very recently. All right, so yeah, Crown says, yo. Once again, thank you, Mr. V, for becoming a differential. Kieran says, should be considering any other captain. Yeah, of course. With the way the season's going, the most popular option not necessarily being the best. Heung-min Son should definitely be considered. Trent Alexander-Arnold, Solanke. I think those would be my top options. If Haaland's available, he's always going to enter the equation. And look, this will be an unpopular opinion, but in my top 5, I'd put Saka in there against West Ham. I think he'll score. That's my prediction for Game Week 19. You make great content, mate. No problem. Thank you, Mr. V. That's much appreciated, mate. Best defender under 5.7 million other than Borro. Zinchenko right now. I'm not a big fan of him in terms of his 1v1 defending. He was very suspect yesterday. But, yeah, I think Zinchenko would be up there. Thank you, Sahil. Talis as well. Yeah, like I said, Ter, I'll probably gift another 5 now, but I have no input in terms of who gets gifted. It's very random. I'm not sure what, YouTube take into account, but for example, Jay, I do remember him being a long-time viewer of the channel, so maybe that plays a part. Chu says, nice work, Dylan. Thank you, mate. I have Gay, Cash, and Tsimikas. What to do? Well, with Gay, at least he's available. The fixtures aren't great, but you have to sell Tsimikas first, in my opinion, then Cash, and then Gay. You should cosplay Santa Claus before you do give away. When I was younger in my primary school, I actually I did a play and I was Santa Claus, so yeah, kind of a... I think the play was the Snowman, so I've done it before. Maybe not the best, but yeah, maybe I'll do it again. Smash the likes and subscriptions, people. Thank you very much, Twisted Parky. Yes, the first giveaway that I've done, and to be honest, Wei-Seng reminded me of it. I forgot about the gifted memberships being a thing. Darwin SL says Callum Jr. Not this week. I think he'll start against Burnley, especially with Diaz being injured. Keep him for Burnley, and then afterwards, I'd argue he's a sell. Yav Sarabia, decent for 4.7 million. Yeah, true. He's cheaper than I expected. I forgot about that. That's really good, actually. Yeah, with Wolves it's a bit difficult because, I don't know, they have this kind of perception of not creating many chances and they can be very frustrating with their offensive assets. But I think when Pedro Neto returns, Sarabia could be a really good option at that price. I know what you mean about a certain team winning the league. Will be tricky for the Seagulls, though. But keep your fingers crossed, Dylan. Fair enough. I do wish Brighton the best. I will be honest, I actually disliked Brighton a little bit before, just because they always beat Arsenal at the Emirates. And yeah, it's a bit of a bogey team for us still. Obviously, I remember the 3-0 last season, which was a bit hurtful. But yeah, I do wish you the best. I did go to a game last season when you beat Wolves 6-0. That was fun. Close to 70k transfers in for Palmer and Game Week 19. This is why I don't make early transfers, especially with players who are in action, of course. And not only that, they have one more yellow before they're suspended. I kept saying to people, don't sell Hwang to Palmer in Game Week 19. Wait another week. Sorry, in Game Week 18. Wait another week and then you can make the switch if he's not suspended. With Sterling and Palmer out, start 2 of Pau, if fit, Baldock and Semenyo and roll transfer. Honestly, I'd start Baldock and Semenyo. I really would. I think Semenyo is definitely the one to start from those 3. Just bear in mind with Semenyo, he's off to the African Cup of Nations of Ghana in Game Week 21. So that is a bit of a concern. But yeah, I think I'd start Semenyo and Baldock. Long term, that investment will never be too much, says Wei-Seng. Yeah, I completely agree in relation to Declan Rice. Pardon. Archer to Solanke in Cuckoo for a -4, or just play Archer against Luton? That is a great question. Now, if you're asking me, I would take the -4 for Solanke, but bear in mind, the fixtures after Fulham are quite difficult, which include West Ham, Spurs, and Liverpool. But in my opinion, Solanke can do well in those games. Having said that, I might still sell him to buy Erling Haaland back in Game Week 20, so it's not easy this game, which is FPL. My game week was shit. Only 7 grace was Gabriel. Glad I started him. Shame I didn't start Archer, although I was never going to. But did have a gut feeling when he played United and kept him benched. Yeah, I think with Gabriel, that's really good because I didn't expect Arsenal to keep a clean sheet, and maybe they could have if Zinchenko didn't do what he did. But overall, it was a game of few chances. I think Liverpool, in the end, maybe had the better ones, but you also look at Saka and Martinelli missing those chances back-to-back. Trent obviously hitting the crossbar. I think a 1-1 draw was fair, and you got a 10 points from Gabriel despite conceding. That's really good. I have no option but to start Kabore next game week, so is he nailed enough to start in Game Week 19? I personally think he will start, but he's not the most nailed-on defender you'll ever see. Elf is my favourite by miles. Yeah, I don't know. It's just that kind of silly humor. I typically like British subtle humor and stuff like that, but I did like the way it was an elf. But then again, I watched it when I was like 8 years old. So, yeah. 106.7 million my team value, says Gary. Jesus. Would you start Muniz or Hwang this week, or sell one of them to any other good option? I'd just go for Hwang. Yeah. In terms of sell one of them to another option, Richarlison could be a shout. Hwang to Richarlison. With Muniz, who do you even sell him to? Archer? But I wouldn't do that. Muniz to Solanke in Cuckoo, as people are mentioning now rightly. That could be a decent shout, but yeah, I'd probably start Hwang and maybe roll the transfer in your case. Gay, Tsimikas and Cashew to get rid of. Well, all of them ourselves, that's the answer. But in terms of priority, Tsimikas will probably be out for months, so he's going to be sold first, then Cash, then Gay. Welp says, while I had 66 points this match week, my team is a bit screwed. Great score, at least. Dubravka, Areola, Tsimikas, Lascelles, Mitchell, Baldock, Gabriel, Son, Watkins, Bowen, Salah, Gordon, Solanke, Saka, Archer. Now, that is great stuff. Great score. There are some issues which I can see creeping into your team. I think your defense, obviously, like a lot of us, is the main issue, but Gabriel's a good option long-term. Your midfield and attack is really good. The only issue, of course, is Son and Salah in Gameweek 21. But yeah, it's just really the unfortunate injuries at the back. Yeah, I'd be prepared to take a -4 hit to sort out the defense. So in your case, you can buy Bedro Borro, you can buy even Mikalenko, who I've recommended a lot recently. Tarkovsky's still a fine alternative to him, same with Branthwaite. Also Konsa, Dan Burn as well, especially with Lascelles. I think he's going to lose a spot soon anyway. So yeah, I think there's a few things you can do in the back line. Tsimikas to Trent is definitely a recommendation I'd make, and the other defender transfer I would look to do is potentially difficult one, but maybe Baldock or Mitchell to a Pedro Porro, I think, or even Saliba, Zinchenko. People get rid of Ferguson, have to replace him with a cheap option ideally. I'd probably just get rid of him. Good fixtures long term, but not nailed on, and Brighton kind of share the goals, so I'm not a big fan of that. I got Haaland by a -4 in Gameweek 15. My heart said no to sell Haaland in Gameweek 16. Now I'm regretting it. Yeah, I think the injury's a bit more serious than we anticipated. But once I saw that he wasn't in the squad in the semi-final of the Club World Cup and stuff like this, I was just kind of very settled on selling him. But look, people can always talk in hindsight, and some people will argue that keeping him is still the right thing to do. But it's all about context. If you still got a good team, whilst having Haaland on your bench, it's not the end of the world. Watkins captain. I wouldn't captain against Man United. I mean, look, it's not a bad shout. He'll probably score more points in this week compared to Sheffield United last week, but I'd rather go for Solanke, Son, Trent, and Salah. Even Saka. Who can 1v1 Salah in that situation? True, but Zinchenko gets beat far too easily. It's not like Salah has to do anything particularly skillful or, you know, something Ronaldinho-esque. He just has to use his pace and run at him, and Zinchenko just can't deal with it. Only murders in the building, very good. Steve Martin, Martin Short, Selena Gomez. I recommended before, but first season is the best. Less about solving crime and more about the drama after. Yeah, that's a shame. But yeah, I've seen a lot of crime stuff. Mindhunter, very underrated show. True Detective, Fargo. So I do like those kind of detective style shows or films. I love Seven, for example. Silence of the Lambs. How many subscribers off 222k? Great question. We'll have a look. I think what we'll do is we'll gift another 5 memberships to make it 10 overall if we get to 22,000 subscribers in this stream. We're 13 away, so we have made progress in the stream, but there is still a little while to go, and I have a feeling maybe by the team selection video, we could hit that milestone, but we are literally so close to 22,000, and also in terms of likes, we are getting closer to 100. So be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you to those that sent in super chats, became channel members like Mr. V, and also to the channel members and patrons overall. Can we have a long loss for your team being the Christmas champions? Well, there's no such thing as Christmas champions. Top of the league. I mean, Arsenal were top of the league last season. I think the last 6 teams to have been top at Christmas and not win the league are Arsenal and Liverpool on multiple occasions. So I wouldn't look too much into it. I'm enjoying the moment, but I want to actually go over the line this time. Best Tsimikas and Ferguson replacements. I mean, Trent is a kind of no-brainer, but if you can't stretch to him, then I would probably say Zinchenko or Pedro Porro. And as for Ferguson, I'd say Solanke. What is your plan with your 4 flag players? I'll discuss this in my team selection video, but just to kind of briefly summarize, I'll be looking to make a defender transfer, of course, either Cash or Tsimikas out for Trent Alexander-Arnold, and I'll probably bench Cole Palmer, start Archer, and then in the weeks to come, ideally I would sell the likes of Cash or Tsimikas, whoever I end up keeping, and sell Lascelles, but there's other fires to put out. I have to sell Son and Salah around Gameweek 20 or 21. If Haaland's available very soon, I need to bring him back by Gameweek 20. So there's a few things. It's all discussed in that team selection video in detail. And maybe tomorrow there could be a transfer tips for Gameweek 19. So yeah, let's wait and see. There's a lot to discuss really with FPL, especially this week. Injury updates on Mitoma. I can give you the official word by De Zerbi. Let me just bring it up here. So, in regards to Mitoma, yeah, De Zerbi said 3 days ago, I hope it won't be a big injury for him and us, but I don't know. We will see in the next few days. So he's currently being assessed. We have no idea whatsoever. Neither does De Zerbi, unfortunately. So there you go. Not much is being given away. Come on, peeps, please watch us. Can we have some more likes, please? Think Oliver Twist. 'Tis the Spirit. Fair enough, yeah. Oliver Twist. I've got the book. I also watched the films multiple times. Thank you, Relaxy Gamer. Merry Christmas, Dylan, with Palmer and Tsimikas out. What are the good other options? And also who to get instead of a doggy. Already have Pedro Porro. Zinchenko or Saliba. Even if it means doubling up on the Arsenal defence, I'd do it. As for Palmer out, I'd keep him. I'd keep Palmer long term. Just bench him. Even if it means starting Archer, so be it. Even Semenyo. I wouldn't sell Palmer, in my opinion. Blazy says, 50 points, Grenara got a lot of frustrating red flags. Maguire, Lascelles, Tsimikas, Palmer looking to do a -4 for Alvarez and Trent, forced to play Taylor to field an 11. That's not too shabby though. I think Trent and Alvarez could really pay that off this week, especially Trent. My New Year's resolution is to go my gut, paid off with Gordon and some others, but gone against it too much, cost me probably 30, 50 points. Yeah, look, even, I don't know if you remember in the deadline stream the other day, I kept trying to talk myself into captaining Son, and it's only a difference of 5 points, but this all adds up. So, yeah, I think in FPL terms, I think that is also going to be one. Just to kind of go my gut, and I think my biggest resolution FPL-wise would be to, go against the popular captaincy options more often. I haven't done that enough this season, and I have struggled as a result. Awesome Peep Show. I actually saw it for the first time back in May. I was kind of on a comedy show binge watch. I watched IT Crowd yet again, then I watched The Office UK version, and then I watched Peep Show. So yeah, I do like it. It's kind of like a unique style of humor. I think the earlier seasons are the best. Just awkward stuff, but yeah, I do like it. It's one of my favorite comedy shows. Not my favorite, but it's up there. Hi Dylan, Small Green Arrow, 100k rank. Merry Christmas. That's a great way to celebrate Christmas, mate. Enjoy the festivities with your family. Best differential replacement for Tsimikas. Zinchenko and Trent would be low owned in terms of under 20% ownership, but if you want a pure differential, maybe Mikalenko could be a shout for you. Are Trent and Saka good buys this week? Yes. People are going to be selling Saka potentially now. I think that's the wrong call. Now, with Saka, he's kind of an awkward one because with his form, you would argue he's a hold, not a buy or a sell, but I personally think they're both good buys this week, especially Trent. Hi Dylan, is there a reaction stream on Tuesday? All the best for Christmas. Thank you, Clifford. There will be a deadline stream on Boxing Day. That's the plan. Probably from 9 AM UK time up until the deadline. And I'll try to do a reaction stream throughout the week. But there's such a quick turnaround between the deadlines. It will be tricky. So there might not be all the usual content in terms of transfer tips, best wildcard team, team selection, reaction stream. But I'll try to do as much as possible in this time period. Have a Christmas dinner now. Sigh. See you later, guys. Thanks for the stream. Thank you, Mr. V. I appreciate it. Enjoy the time with your family and friends. And yeah, I'll hope to see you in the next few streams as well. Would you buy Zinchenko, Walker, Borro? Already own Son and Richarlison, so not sure about owning 3 Spurs players. Your thoughts? I'm not completely against owning 2 or 3 Spurs players, to be honest, but I wouldn't be too concerned about that anyway, because Son will be off to the Asian Cup and you can sell him in Gameweek 21. So I'd buy Borro anyway. Now, Zinchenko is also up there. I think if I'm buying one right now, it would be Zinchenko, but Borro is really good as well. So don't be put off by the triple up in the Spurs team, because you can always sell Son very soon. FPL Rob Solanke last week, my captain, so I just kept him as captain. That is great comeback, mate. That's a fantastic revenge story. Gameweek 19 prediction update in Discord. Yeah, I actually didn't even put my Gameweek 18 predictions. Trying Trying to think about it, I said 3-1 Liverpool. I said I was going to go for 1-1 Palace Brighton, then I went for 2-1 Brighton, just to give Brighton a win. I keep giving them draws or losses. I think I went for 2-1 West Ham. I don't think I got a score spot on this week, because I thought Fulham would win 3-0 or 2-0. I got that completely wrong. I said 1-1 Chelsea. I got that wrong. Did I get anything right this week? Jesus Christ. I said 3-2 for Spurs, and it ended up being 2-1. So yeah, close predictions, but not close enough. Lamptey just keeps escaping from being sold. Yeah, same here with Matty Cash. Every time I plan on selling him, someone else gets injured. I'm someone that likes depth. It's just annoying, isn't it? It's too many injuries and suspensions recently. I hate taking -4 for defenders, given that I need to bring back Haaland and have to ship Salah and Son. Yeah, but the -4 hits can pay off, especially if the -4 hit this week would be for Trent. I think it's 100% worth it. Yesterday's match was unpredictable, though. Anything could happen from Trent Hall to Martineley Hall. Anything could have happened. That's true. Who are the FPL essentials for the next game week? Trent, Salah, Solanke, dare I say, Son. Those would be my kind of shouts. And Saka. He's also up there. The difference in tone of Only Murders and the crime movies you mentioned. Yeah, maybe I'm not on the right page there. I didn't understand fully. But yeah, I'm just saying I like kind of crime stuff in general. Thorson and Cuckoo, I picked them up for this week. Good stuff. I still think Solanke, Watkins and Haaland is the priority, but Nkuku is a nice differential. I think he's a great way to climb the ranks and probably the second best Chelsea asset behind Palmer. Cunha or Solanke? Solanke. I think Cunha's also a shout, by the way. Top 5, top 6 forwards in FPL. He's very consistent recently, but Solanke for me has to be. He's the most informed forward in the game. Totally agree about Mindhunter. Now True Detective season with Jodie Foster's coming up. Oh, really? It's Jodie Foster? Wow. That's interesting. Aston Villa bottled the chance to be first on Christmas Day. Yeah, I agree. They were robbed of penalties. I think they should have got one penalty and the goal should have stood based on the fact that the play, obviously, there was a foul on the goalkeeper, that has to be said, but then Sheffield United continued. The referee allowed it to go on, and then, obviously, Watkins won the ball. So I think that was a bit harsh as well. Happy that I did a last-minute -4 Hwang to Bowen. Good stuff. And obviously, I'm hoping for Bowen to blank this week, but really good acquisition in the long term, definitely. How to bring Haaland back sooner in rather than later. Bear in mind, there are reports that he's going to miss Game Week 19. He won't start against Everton. He might not even be in the squad. So I wouldn't be in a rush. But in terms of how to bring him back, I think Salah has to be a sacrificial lamb, unfortunately. And it also might mean not going for Trent. But what I'm looking to do is buy Trent this week for a free transfer and then take a -4 hit to sell Salah, find the funds necessary to buy Erling Haaland if he's available. Yeah, that's also possible, Twister Parky. The update I provided was from the 21st of December, so it's probably out of date. Captain Kudus, it paid off. Nice stuff, nice stuff. Just before I joined the stream, walked past Ferguson of Brighton getting a new haircut. Wow. Did you say anything to him? Tell him to join Arsenal. Joking there. Any chance for FM Live? I don't really play FM, to be honest, so maybe if I get into it, that could be a thing. I have some friends that keep, trying to encourage me to do gaming videos and streams. This channel would no longer be PG if I did gaming videos and all that stuff. But yeah, you never know. I'm not going to say never. Never say never is the saying. I can't even speak right now. I think it's definitely time for Christmas relaxation. Hear me out. Watkins captain versus United's genius. Look, I mean, who am I to say that's wrong? Because my captaincy decisions have been awful this season. I think he'll do something against United, but I don't think his ceiling will be as high as a Solanke, Son, Salah, or Trent. But you could be onto something. You really could. Priority sell Haaland, Lascelles, Palmer, Tsimikas. Well, now I don't think I'd sell Haaland. Wait for more updates regarding him. Tsimikas is the priority sell. Palmer and Haaland I'd keep. Yeah, Tsimikas first, then Lascelles to sell. You can just imagine Watkins hauling after he let us down this week. Exactly. He'll probably get 9 to 11 points. And to be honest, I wouldn't mind. But I also wouldn't mind United winning. Why not? What do you think for City defender? Walker's the best of a relatively bad bunch, really. Not a big fan of them. Do you think Solanke price will go up by the time the deadline? Yeah, I think so. Let's actually go through some different screens since I haven't done that yet. So, in terms of the FDR, Chelsea are now top, but does that mean anything? Maybe not. Brighton, Man City, Luton Town and Man United are in the top 5. In terms of the bottom 5, Nottingham Forest, Everton, Burnley, Wolves and West Ham. In terms of predicted points, Salah is top with 6.8, closely followed by Son, Saka, Gordon. I'm going to miss a little bit this week. Bruno Fernandes, Trippier, Solanke, Odegaard. Forget about Palmer, he's suspended. And Gabriel Jesus. That is the top 10, with Palmer being replaced. Oh, look, it's already been updated. Bye-bye, Cole Palmer. Yeah, Jared Bowen does enter the top 10 there for the highest predicted points, I think. And in terms of price rises, we've got Senesi, Palmer. Surely that's not going to go up in price now. Surely people are going to be selling him, so that should be delayed. Mengi, Luis Diaz, Mitchell, Mitoma, Mbumo, all of them should be suffering or experiencing price changes tonight. Of course, Senesi, Palmer, Mengi will be going up, but I think the Palmer one could be stalled considering what happened today. In terms of the transfer suggestions by DraftHound, Tsimikas to Gvardiol is what they're recommending. Cash to Colwell is another. Then they've got a few weird ones here in terms of Tsimikas to Gabriel. I think that's great. But Solanke to Alvarez, nah, not for me, mate. I actually discuss DraftHound in my team selection video, so be sure to check that out. In terms of chance of scoring, Salah's first, Son second. Then you've got Darwin, Alvarez, and Saka in the top 5. Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City, and Brentford are in the top 4 in terms of attacking potential over the next 5 game weeks. Then we've got the player comparison tool, Son versus Saka. Saka is actually ahead in terms of predicted points in Gameweek 19. And also predicted lineups. It's all here for you on DraftHound. It's updated regularly, so be sure to check out the website. There's a link in the description below. You can sign up using my one. We can help each other out. And I'm telling you now, it's a resource I use since the summer. It's been absolutely amazing for me. And look, I don't always follow it in terms of every single decision they recommend, but I just find it interesting to use this data to maybe sometimes support my transfer plans in the long term. Let's now go to the captaincy. The captaincy. Ollie Watkins was by far the most captain player in the top 100k. 67% of managers went for him. Salah was second, Son was third. Fair play to those of you who went for those two. Haaland was fourth, Palmer was fifth. That was even worse than the Watkins one somehow. And as for Solanke, wow, 0.56% of you in the top 100k captain him. That is an amazing shout if you went for Solanke, I have to say that. As for FPL.team, this will give you a little preview of what's yet to come in the team selection video, which will be uploaded straight after the stream is done. So the content never stops. And like I said, if this stream gets to over 100 likes, if we get to 22,000 subscribers, then there will be a transcripts video tomorrow on Christmas Day. And it doesn't stop there. The following day, we've got a deadline stream for Gameweek 19. So be sure to tune in for all of that. I genuinely would recommend it. It's always a lot of fun. Just now go back to my team. Not a great week overall. But enough to get a green arrow because of Dominic Solanke. Thank you very much, lad. Thank you. This game was pretty crap, apart from Liverpool-Arsenal game. Yeah, and even that game didn't have many chances, but it was, I think, maybe not a chess match. I think that was more Arsenal-Man City, but it was a game that could have gone either way, and in the end, the draw was fair. Top 3 captains this game week, please order them. Salah, Son, Solanke. And then in 4th, I'd put Trent, and in 5th, I'd put Saka. Who to start, Saliba or Porro in Gameweek 19? I mean, earlier I did say Porro over Gabriel, but it also depends if you have an Arsenal defender already. I would expect West Ham and Brighton to score against Spurs and Arsenal. So, tricky one. But I think I'd go for Porro, just for the attacking potential. Richarlison or Douglas Luiz, which is better? Richarlison. Hi, I'm thinking of replacing Watkins or Solanke to Alvarez. Who do you recommend? I would not sell Watkins or Solanke, mate. Honestly, I can see what you're doing. Alvarez was great in the World Cup final, the Club World Cup final, that is, but I wouldn't buy him for Watkins or Solanke. Do Colwell or Trippier to Trent? Colwell really good fixtures, but Chelsea crap, and went Trippier for Forest. Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't sell Trippier this week. If you were to sell him, it would be in Gameweek 20 when he's got 3 tough games back-to-back. Non-PG stream needed. Definitely isn't needed. You should do FPL shorts. Yeah, potentially. I've done a few shorts on my channel already, but they're gaming videos and it's a bit of fun. Yeah, I'll look into that. Yeah, because United defense is awful right now. Most expected goals conceded. Yeah, I back Watkins to do well, but I don't know. I just can't be asked with Watkins as a captain, man. I think he's someone to tick along nicely for the end of the season, but I don't trust him for the captaincy. I've got a bad history with him. Let's put it that way. I'm so glad Villa got no pen. My gut said buy Luiz, but got Richarlison. Probably Haaland in Game Week 20 for Archer, and maybe Luis for Salah, or hold in Haaland out. Yeah, let's wait and see what the latest updates are on Haaland. That will always determine what we do this week and next week. But yeah, I can understand that kind of thinking with the penalty. Pau could be available for Game Week 19. Yes, I don't think the injury is too serious. If I do Tsimikas to Trent and sell Salah to get Haaland in Game Week, I'll be left with 7.2 million to get a midfielder. Who do you suggest? Already have Palmer and Gordon. Richarlison. Spoke to Ferguson, he said Arsenal, no fucking chance. Just kidding. You guys have enough riches already. I don't think so. It might sound very greedy, but Jesus and Nketiah as a striking partnership, I think Arsenal can do better than that. I think Jesus and a top striker is what they should be aiming for. And look, Nketiah has done well in recent weeks, but Arsenal need to look to be upgrading and be ruthless in all positions. I'm thinking of replacing Watkins or Solanke on Alvarez. Yeah, I've covered that. Should I activate wildcard now or wait until tomorrow? If you're set on using it now, as in if you're looking to use it in Game Week 19, just do it now. You might as well play it. Catch some early price rises. So if you're absolutely sure about it, play it. Dylan, what are your top Salah and Son transfers in Game Week 21? Son to Richarlison in Game Week 21. And Salah to, well, in my case, it'd be Gordon. But apart from Gordon, a bit trickier. I think Douglas Luiz enters the equation. Pedro Neto is also a really good shout. Odegaard, Bruno Fernandes, they're all in the equation. So, yeah, there's a few options in there. But I think, if it was me, Gordon and Richarlison for my own team situation. And I'm actually looking at bringing Richarlison in Game Week 20 for Salah, and then getting Gordon in Game Week 21. Matoma left Palace on crutches and will be out for a while, according to reports. No idea what happened. That's a shame. Quality player, really good dribbler, and on his day, he can beat anyone on that wing. Villa Man United was terrible for the most part. I'm not... not Villa West Ham. Yeah, that game was dull. I think Villa United will be a good game, actually. If it was at Villa Park, I think it would be a no contest, but yeah, I think at Old Trafford, United have a chance. Sam says 2 free transfers, option 1, Trippier to 3.9 to 4.1 million defender, so I can upgrade Jimenez next week to Haaland and Salah to Foden, Game Week 20. Option 2, Jimenez to 4.3 million forward, and I have to sell Solanke to get Haaland. I'd probably go for option 1, but you don't want to sell Trippier at home to Nottingham Forest, and you also don't want to sell Solanke at home to Fulham. Really tricky decisions to be made, so I'm guessing, yeah, this is all Game Week 20 anyway. I'd go for option 1. Colwell or Trippier to Trent? One Trippier, one more week. Yeah, I'd probably sell Colwell out of the two, to be honest with you. Colwell's just there as your 5th defender, can get the occasional clean sheet, but Trippier's still far better. Haaland to Solanke, missed 17 points and now ranked down from 45k to 120k. Yeah, I see what you mean there. Look, I was lucky to buy Solanke when I did. If I bought him last week, I'd have probably rage transferred him out at this point. It is what it is. Double Arsenal defence in Game Week 19 or concert and Arsenal defence? I'd probably go for double Arsenal defence. I mean, look, with the way Man United have been, you could argue that 5 games in a row without scoring wouldn't surprise anyone for Man United, but I think they'll score personally, and I'd go for a double up in the Arsenal defence. It's crazy that my dad's no Haaland. Religious team name is his level with my main one that's had Haaland. Yeah, it just goes to show that Haaland is an essential. Now, is he the best FPL option in the game? Probably, alongside Salah. But you can find ways to compensate for that. This has got to be the most unpredictable FPL season. Definitely Callum Jr. That's why my captaincy has been all over the place. Lascelles starting? I don't think so. Even without the injury, with Cher, Botman, and Burn back, as well as Trippier, that's going to be the main defensive four for Newcastle. And now, with this injury on top, yeah, I think he's not going to play. When would you bring in KDB and Haaland? Haaland in Game Week 20, if he's available. De Bruyne, I think it could be a bit longer for him because he's been out for a long time. And also, he's very injury prone, doesn't get a consistent run of starts, he gets a lot of benchings. So I think with De Bruyne, I'd only really buy him for a double game week if I really want to go aggressive and target Man City's fixtures. Rank Kuba if he plays in the Premier League. I mean, I haven't seen much of him. I think he's a decent player. I don't think he's particularly great, to be honest, but I think he's okay. Matoma also saying on his Insta, so frustrated to be out, but will come back stronger. Yeah. Not sure how long it's going to be, but it could be a couple of weeks or months, which is a shame. Sahil says team for Game Week 19, Raya, Sinchenko, Trent, Mikalenko, Salah. Saka, Hwang Hee-chan, Sarabia, Archer, Watkins, Solanke, captain. Bench, Areola, Cash, Palmer, Lamptey. We'll do Tsimikas to Zinchenko maybe. Yeah, I think that's absolutely fine. You've already got Trent. Good stuff, Sahil. And overall, that is a really good squad there. Yeah, you got Mikalenko, obviously. I remember you brought him in when he missed out, and I thought he'd be available based on Sean Dash's comments. But overall, your team is in a good position long term, and I think Zinchenko is the right transfer. Walker to Trent or Nketiah to Alvarez? I mean, Trent for me is the one to get. I'd go Walker to Trent, but Nketiah to Alvarez is another good shout, mate. It really is. If possible, do Walker to Trent this week, and then... Or even if you can get Solanke as well for a -4 hit, do it. But I'm guessing you don't have the funds for it. Yeah, exactly that, Twisted Park. Yeah, I saw a report that Haaland wasn't in training and that it's unlikely that he'll be in the squad to face Everton. Welcome, Beardy. Good to see you as always. Chojan says, when is the best time to use the wildcard? If you still have it, I think now's a great time. It's all team dependent, of course, but if you've got Cash out, Tsimikas, Lascelles potentially out, Palmer suspended, or someone else, play the wildcard now. You've only got 2 more opportunities to use the first wildcard, Gameweek 19 or 20. I would recommend using it now, really, for most people. Thank you, Gary. Merry Christmas to you as well. May all your arrows be green. Likewise, as green as your Christmas tree, which maybe is a bit cringe, but whatever. Get De Bruyne for Salah when he's out for African Cup of Nations, or go for the safe option, Bowen. I'll be honest, I'd rather go for Bowen. Very consistent, starts every game, plays 90 minutes. With De Bruyne, I'd only buy him if he gets a consistent run of starts. And really, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, I'm looking to target De Bruyne in a double game week. But yeah, if I don't really have that confidence of fitness and staying injury-free, I might even avoid De Bruyne for the rest of the season. Should I activate the wildcard now or wait until tomorrow? I answered this already, Zello. I highlighted your message. If you're going to use the wildcard this week and you're set on it, play the wildcard now, and you can gain something in terms of price value by getting in players who are going up in price and getting rid of those who are about to go down in price. So yeah, just play it now. If you want to use it, I'd say play it now. You have nothing to lose. You can gain a bit in terms of team value. So we have over 100 people still watching. I appreciate those that have been watching throughout. It's very much appreciated, as always. And yes, we might not hit 22,000 in this stream. We are 13, 14 away, but it doesn't matter. What I'm going to do now, for those that have been watching for most of it on Christmas Eve, we should be all chilling, not talking about FPL, for Christ's sake. I'm going to be gifting 5 more memberships. I think I'm able to do that. So yeah, I'm going to give 5 more memberships, obviously in time for Christmas. No worries, Sahil. If you want to put your message again, be sure to let me know. But yeah, let's give another 5 memberships. It's completely random. I have nothing to do with it. So there you go. A huge shout out goes to those that have signed up already for Patreon or also as a channel member. And there you go. 5 more memberships have been gifted for the month. Let's see who has got it. We'll have a look here. Weiseng has got a well-deserved because you did recommend it. So that is absolutely deserved. And also Twisted Parky, another moderator, Callum Jr., who's always contributing in the live chats, Natalie S, and Thomas Tio. All of you have become channel members. So no worries, Callum Jr. Hopefully you enjoy Christmas and the new year. I think from now on, I would like to, give some more memberships, of course. Also respecting those that have signed up manually, but still, I think it's definitely worth it. And long-time viewers also deserve this. So thank you very much for all the support. It's genuinely much appreciated. I'm now probably going to head off. We have been streaming for a little bit. Time does fly. Subscribe to the channel. Let's hit 22,000 by the end of today. If not, we will reach it by the end of the year. And also get this stream to over 100 likes. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM, and check all the other links in the description below for the Patreon, Championships Discord server, the FPL League, Draft Hound. It's all there. I encourage you to check all of them out for sure. Let's go through some last questions before wrapping up. We have been streaming for almost 1 hour, 45 minutes. Twisted Parky says, yeah, I got one. What do I get? A car? Just early access to videos. You also get the badge, of course, that you can see there. You start off with a star, and then it becomes... you start off with a star, then it becomes the red channel logo, which is obviously the one I use. Then I think it becomes black, then blue, and then it becomes bronze, silver, and gold. Got him, coach, says Weiseng. I mean, it's deserved, mate. You did, recommend it. So that's a 400 IQ play, I'd say. Twisted Parky says, I need one after drunk driver smash into our car and 5 others. That is terrible to hear. I wish you the best. Hopefully the car is repaired very soon and it doesn't happen again. J-War, thank you very much. Joao Garotes as well. Merry Christmas to you and a Happy New Year. Same with Beardy as well, who's got a great YouTube channel. Be sure to check him out. He's got a lot of subscribers, that's for sure. Thank you, Callum Jr. as well. See you. Have a good Christmas. Likewise, Sahil as well. Happy Christmas, Dylan. See you next stream. Definitely. And that will be on Boxing Day in 2 days' time on the Tuesday. Be sure to tune in. What do we have to do? Anything? No, you don't really have to do anything, just the Parky. But in terms of getting early access to my videos, you just go on my channel memberships page or the community tab basically, and they will pop up for you whenever you're going on YouTube. So you can watch the team selection video now, Twister Parky, same with Wei Seng and all the other new channel members and patrons. But yeah, I wish you all the best of luck to everyone. Enjoy Game Week 19, but more importantly, have a great Christmas and a Happy New Year. And if you want any more comments answered, leave them in the comment section down below or use one of the links in the description below. So I wish you all the best, enjoy all the festivities, and I'll see you next time.